Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to get your sources unpacked, really giving you that quick path to being genuinely well-informed.
And today is, well, it's a bit of a different one, isn't it?
It really is. We're tackling this
Yeah.
fascinating puzzle today. And it's strange because it highlights not just, a timely issue, but something more fundamental about how we all process information.
Exactly. What's so illuminating, I think, is that our usual method, taking different sources, synthesizing them, connecting the dots for you, that was actually challenged by the source material itself this time.
How so?
Well, it really forced us to stop and think about what happens when the information you're expecting to find isn't there.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that because it's key. A listener sent us what, on the surface, looked like a totally relevant, really crucial source.
Yeah, what was the title again?
It was excerpts from Ukraine's corruption protests and Zelensky's challenge. It even had a Washington Post URL dated today, July 23rd, 2025. Looked perfect.
Seems spot on. Promised a really rich deep dive into, a critical global situation.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you think about how we normally approach any topic, the first thing we do is look for the substance, right? The actual text, the details.
Right.
We want to get into not just what's happening, but why it's important, and crucially, what are the different angles, the different perspectives.
Yeah.
So this whole situation immediately brought up a really big question for us. What do you do when that core content, the actual information, is missing?
Precisely. And the source material itself, the thing we received for this deep dive, was almost like a meta-commentary on exactly that point.
What did it actually say?
It literally said, and I'm quoting here, "I apologize, but I cannot generate the detailed outline for the deep dive without the actual content of the source material."
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and it went on, clarifying that the text content of these excerpts was not included in the prompt. So this isn't just some internal glitch for us. It's actually, I think, a profound lesson for everyone listening.
It's a truly unique scenario for our deep dive format, definitely. And it highlights something so vital about source verification. Think about it. So often we see these really compelling headlines or maybe just tantalizing titles, and we instantly feel like, okay, I get this topic.
Right, you feel informed just by reading the headline.
Exactly. But without the granular details, without the supporting evidence, the nuanced arguments that would be in the original source, we're basically left with an illusion of understanding.
Yeah.
It's like we have the box, but it's completely empty.
Huh. It's like getting a beautifully wrapped gift. You open it up, and inside there's just a little note saying, "Oops, you forgot to put the actual gift in here."
That's a great analogy, actually.
So what does this mean for you, listening right now, maybe wanting to be informed about something specific, like, say, Ukraine's corruption protests?
Well, it means
It means that even a source that looks perfect, perfectly titled, clearly referenced, like this Washington Post article seemed to be, it absolutely requires its actual textual content before anyone can do any meaningful exploration.
and the source itself admitted that. It said, please provide the full text content so I can proceed.
With generating the outline,
Yeah.
it underlines the whole point.
What really stands out to me here is the practical side of this for critical thinking. Just imagine you see this headline pop up in your newsfeed.
Okay.
You might absorb the general idea, Ukraine, corruption, protests, Zelensky challenged, and feel like, okay, you're up to speed.
Yeah, you check that box mentally.
But pause and think about what we, as your guides on this deep dive, would actually be digging for if we had the content. What specifics?
Right, we'd be asking, what specific corruption allegations are we talking about? Who are the main figures involved?
Where's the history here? Is this new? What are the protesters actually demanding?
And how has Zelensky's government responded? Like, specifically responded, not just generally.
Exactly. What are the economic impacts? Or the geopolitical ripple effects? We need those specifics.
We'd be hunting for the human stories behind it, too. Specific policies being debated. Who are the different stakeholders? What's the real scale of these protests? Any parliamentary action? International reactions?
All of that.
Without any of that, you're not really well informed at all, are you? You're just aware of a headline.
That's it.
It's a really powerful reminder, I think. In this age where we feel like there's so much information, sometimes the biggest challenge isn't actually the overload. It's the sneaky, insidious absence of real substance hiding behind a good title.
That's a really good point. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? This situation prompts an important question. In our daily scramble for knowledge, how often do we actually run into this? Where we have the title, the reference, maybe a summary, the promise of information?
But the actual meat isn't there.
Precisely. Think about scrolling through social media or even reading those quick news summaries. Do we really stop and ask, okay, but what are the concrete examples? Where's the underlying data? Who are the primary sources saying this?
Probably not often enough. Makes you wonder, right? How many times do we just scroll past a headline, feel like we've absorbed the gist, and then just move on without ever truly diving into the actual details?
Yeah.
So this deep dive, it sort of becomes this conceptual exploration in a way. It's about the necessity of having the full picture.
It really is.
It's about recognizing that gap, that void where the content should be, and really understanding how that void impacts our ability to genuinely comprehend something complex, something critical, like, governance and public feeling in any country.
And that leads us, I think, to a really crucial takeaway for you, the listener.
Which is,
Don't just consume the headlines, please. When a topic actually matters to you, push beyond that title. Actively seek out the full article.
yeah, find the substance.
Compare multiple sources too. Look for specific evidence, different viewpoints. That's where real understanding actually lives. It's not in the promise of information. It's in its verified substance.
That is a great thought to leave everyone with today. What does this whole experience mean for how you go about gathering knowledge when sometimes even the most promising looking lead, well, it can only take you as far as the actual available source allows? Maybe next time, remember to demand the full picture.